And welcome back to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today, we're doing another coin review, and we're doing a refresh on some of the coins, actually one of the coins. I could say some of the coins, because there's two coins in this family of this project. It's a project called Reserve Rights, or RSR. The other token is RSV, but the coin of interest is RSR, because that's the one that's going to fluctuate with value over time. It's kind of the maker to the DAI. It's the governance coin or the DAO coin for this stablecoin. So what is Reserve Rights Token? It is a project that started a couple years ago. Both Binance and Coinbase are backing it and funded it. There's a lot of good big people that are behind it, including backers that were 3 people that were involved with PayPal, the Digital Currency Group, and even Grayscale is associated with this project. So there's a lot to like about this project, and it's getting more and more timely. It's getting closer to its main launch, its mainnet launch, which should be happening any day now. So this video is a little bit timely for me to put this out now. So with all that said, let me get to the video of the news and the charts and a little bit about the mainnet launch, and then we'll go to a conclusion at the end. Just a quick reminder that nothing in this video is considered financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Seek out your own advice and do your own diligence, do your own research. Okay, so let's dive into RSR, or the Reserve Rights Project. Reserve Rights has 2 different coins, and we'll get into each one. But first, let's start about what the project's main goal is. What's the mission? The mission is to really build a stable coin that can't be shut down. It's trying to create a digital currency that's borderless, that's able to be used in a number of different locations all across the globe. And their primary focus is starting in countries where they're experiencing hyperinflation. So we're going to take a quick look at the protocol and how it works in a diagram, but I'll try to simplify it for you as best I can. So this is a diagram of the Reserve Protocol, and which shows the flow of 2 different coins. There is the RSR, the reserve coin, and the RSV, which is the value coin. Now, what happens is that they try the vault, which sits in the middle here, tries to keep the RSV token at $1. Its circulating supply at $1. If there's too many RSVs in the marketplace, it will reduce the production of RSV. They try to keep it back at $1, but if there's not enough, they'll produce more RSV. The RSR is the governance token that helps to work on how to create that stabilization and also control the vault as far as what are the assets that are backing the RSV to make sure that there's valuation behind it. Now, overall, in the long run, right now it's targeted to be $1, but that is just phase 1 and phase 2 of the project. So a little more detail on reserve rights in the background, in the 3 different phases of the project. Phase 1 is the centralized phase. That doesn't mean that it's a centralized coin. What it means is that they're centralizing the valuation. So they're collateralizing the coins with a number of different tokenized US dollars. We're talking about TrueUSD, USDC, DAI, Binance USD. All the different stable coins that are out there are used in a group to collateralize in a centralized manner. Then it becomes a little bit more decentralized in phase 2, where it's different basket of assets. It's not necessarily stable coins. And then phase 3 is where it gets really interesting, is where it's no longer pegged to the US dollar. So this is the only project that I've found so far that has a roadmap that is talking about creating a stable currency that is not tied to the US dollar. In other words, it can float. It doesn't have to be the US dollar. It could be gold, it could be silver, it could be oil, it could be a commodity, it could be Bitcoin, it could be whatever. It's not married to the US dollar, which is significant in the long scope of things if crypto eventually moves away from a US fiat system, US dollar valuation for coins. Continuing on, we talk about the 2 different tokens. There's 2 tokens, as we mentioned earlier. There's the RSV, which is the one that's right now tied to the US dollar at $1, or as close as possible. And RSR is the governance token. That is very important, and we will talk about more, but that is the coin of interest from an investment and financial vehicle perspective. Again, not financial advice, this is just for educational purposes only, but RSR is the coin that you want to take a look at. And you can obviously find more detail on the reserve.org page of all the different explanations, and including their white paper. So who else is involved in the RSR project? They have a number of investors, and it's a significant list. Starting right at the top of the page, Sam Altman is a venture capitalist. He's been in a number of projects of interest, including Airbnb, Stripe, Reddit, Asana, Pinterest. That's just one. And Peter Thiel is another one that's been involved in PayPal as among other different ventures. You'll see a number of very interesting things here. Coinbase is significant in here. They're mentioned several times. Coinbase is a backer, which is significant to note because often when Coinbase gets involved in a coin, they're probably going to list it at some point. Just taking note how many times PayPal is mentioned on the page. We have Peter Thiel that's here. Again, we mentioned him earlier with the co-founding of PayPal. Also, there's Jack Selby, who is a member of the founding team, and Eric Jackson, who was a VP of marketing at PayPal. That's 3 different people that are involved in this project from PayPal. That's of significant note because not only now we have a mention of Coinbase, but we have a mention of PayPal. So PayPal has talked a lot about cryptocurrencies and getting involved. So it would not surprise me that you could see reserve rights as one of the currencies that they offer on PayPal for cryptocurrencies when they get involved in this realm. So one more investor that I really wanted to point out here on this list, and it's a large number of lists. I mean, you've got major players, major involvements here, both in crypto space and Silicon Valley big business. But if we scroll down a little bit further, we find Digital Currency Group. Digital Currency Group is a large player, and you'll see the mention of Grayscale. They're involved in Grayscale. So it would not surprise me at all as well to see Grayscale eventually create another fund for another coin that they've already made 20 plus funds for people to invest in cryptocurrency assets. RSR could easily make that list very soon. Now let's take a look at some of the countries that they're looking to get into first. RSR has targeted Latin America for the first few projects. Venezuela, Argentina, and Colombia, because those countries are having major inflation rate issues. You can see Venezuela here is just out of control, 4 million% inflation rate. So one of the mission statements here, going back to the early statement of what RSR's goal is to create a stable economic vehicle. I'll call it a stable coin, but it's really not a stable coin. It's a stable coin, but it's a stable coin on steroids. It is a new currency system to escape the present currency system. So Venezuela is clearly out of control, and we will show a video shortly about how they're using that as a means of exchange in South America. But they're targeting right now. It's only available. RSR is only available in Venezuela, Colombia, and Argentina. That's it. Just 3 countries on the globe. So you can only imagine how big this project can be and get once it expands into other countries. I like to look at a lot of different places for information and pull them all together to get an informed opinion. Twitter can be a good vehicle of that, as well as Medium. Reserve Rights has their own Twitter page, Reserve Protocol, and you can find some pretty interesting posts that they have there. One of their most recent ones in April is their one about March Madness. That links to a Q1 for 2021 report on Medium. And if you go to that, follow that link, you get to a very interesting page where it talks about the highlights of this quarter, about Venezuela, and how many followers they have in Argentina and Colombia, how many downloads they have in Venezuela. Again, it's a hot market there. They use it a lot. In this article, there is a very interesting video that's embedded in here, and I'll skip this one. That's a good one too, but in the interest of time, we're going to go to this particular video down here, which shows people actually using it. So this is this is in Spanish, so I'll have to speak over it, and My Spanish is very, very rusty, but this is a person that's actually trying to do a transaction in Latin America. I think it's probably Argentina. And he's demonstrating how the vendor at a mall, a Disney shopping mall, can go and pay. He has $70 available in his account. So he's able to go over to the point of sale device and using the QR code, take a picture of the QR code and say, okay, how much is this, whatever he's going to buy? And it's going to come up, I think it's $14. So he's going to put in a few memos about explaining what it's about and putting the address who he's going to send it to. And he's going to type in how much he's going to send. And then we're going to see how quick it is to move the money. So not only is RSV a stable coin and stable currency, but it's also with their app, which is available in Latin America only right now. There's $14.50 he's going to send. He's going to hit the send button and watch what happens in just a moment. It'll be on that other phone in a matter of moments. So he's going to confirm it, and then you'll see, unfortunately, he moved his phone away, but bang, $16.50 showed up right away. So you can see in a matter of seconds, the money went from one phone to the other and into the other person's account. This is similar to Venmo or Zelle, and it shows that, or PayPal, and it's probably even faster. So you can see that the RSR and RSV shows how Zelle is dead, according to this tweet. So talking a little bit more about RSR and where you can find it on the chart. RSR right now is in, I think it's around position 80 or so. It's had a very good week. I'm going to scroll down, pardon the fast scroll. But RSR, there it is. So RSR is just under a dime per coin, and it's had a very significant week, up almost 20%, which has put it at the 1.2 billion mark. Now that's significant because it's really pulled it away from that top 100 line. It was right around $1 billion last week, which put it right at that number 100, 101 line, where you could get that Coinbase effect bump from page 2 to page 1. Now, that's not to say that RSR could dip back down or other coins could jump ahead of it and you could get that effect again. But for right now, it seems to be a little bit safer into page 1, which is good because when you get to these larger numbers of how it's doing for the week and you sort that, it's going to be near the top. Looking a little bit harder at RSR, we can see again it's at just floating around a dime, just under a dime. I want to point out something that people are concerned about, which is that it's called the float, and the number of coins that are available for the project is significant. There is over 100 billion RSR coins when there's only 13 billion minted now. That's causing a lot of people to have some pause about this project because only 1/8 or so, 13%, has been released into the marketplace. But if you dig deeper into the white paper, that is really a reserve for RSR, no pun intended, because there's the possibility that they could need those coins, but there's also the very strong likelihood that they're going to burn a lot of these coins. Those coins are kept in reserve in case then they need them further, but for right now, it doesn't seem that they need to go in down that road. So that number is probably going to go significantly down in the future. Another point to point out about this project is it doesn't have its own blockchain just yet. They're going to move to their own blockchain soon. They've been talking about it for almost a year now, so it should be imminent. But they're still an Ethereum-based coin, and as such that they don't have their own blockchain yet. But once they get to their own blockchain, you'll see a lot more partnerships come out and a lot more expansion for the project. So a little history on how I first came out to find this coin. So and I like to share my sources, and I think I want to share them with everyone. If you want to delve further in, be my guest. But about 9 months or so ago, maybe almost a year, I started to hear more and more about this coin. And this is Lark Davis, who had a very good video on it, and I'll share this link. But this is he delves into RSR and what it's about, and talks a little bit further about a lot of things I've already talked about and some things I will be talking about the partnerships with Binance and Coinbase. This was back then it was not listed on Binance. The RSR was below a penny last year. Now it's over a dime, so it's gone up 10x or more, and it's already been listed on Binance. It has not been listed on Coinbase yet. So I'll share this video and a few others that are up here at the top of the page that I've delved into. One from Blockchain Andy, one from CryptoTube, and another one from Crypto Mobster. Gives a well-rounded view of 4 different people's perspectives, 4 different YouTubers are out there, what their takes on this project. All of them are positive so far. This one's the most recent, but I think that if you dig further into these videos and the white paper and so on and want to dig into this project a little bit further, I want to provide all the resources so you can. So as we talk more about the RSR project, the Reserve Rights project, what is a coin that would be an analogy for this? What is a coin or as we dig in further on the Reserve Rights project, what is another project that might be similar for a basis of comparison? I always like to find a comparison so we can get an idea of what the possibilities are for RSR. So one project that I looked at pretty hard was Maker. Maker is a cryptocurrency with a governance token that manages the stablecoin called DAI, and this is all on the Ethereum protocol. So again, this is intended to be for Ethereum. It's not going to diverge or go into its own blockchain. It is on the Ethereum blockchain. So the DAI is the stablecoin for the Ethereum blockchain. So if you look at how that is structured, we have Ethereum, Maker, and DAI. Ethereum, most everybody knows Ethereum as that's the basis of the entire blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain. That's the one you invest in. That's the underlying value of the entire Ethereum blockchain. But there's relationships back and forth with DAI, with stablecoin, and Maker. Maker is the governance token that works between the two to try to provide liquidity, keep the right number of DAI available in the marketplace, and also keep it at close to $1. So Maker is a governance token using both DAI and Ethereum to try and keep DAI at about $1. So the analogy here is that Maker would be like RSR, and DAI would be like RSV, and Ethereum would be the bucket of assets that the RSR project is going to use, such as the stablecoins, and then possibly later on, different assets or a bucket of assets that may not be tied to the US dollar. So just focus now on Maker for a moment. Maker has had an epic run lately. Since January. It has moved from below $600. Well, it was $500 and now it's $2,500. So it's gone up 5x. And now it's $3,800. So call it over 7x. So the market value of Maker is $2.5 billion, or more than double of RSR. So at a very beginning valuation, you can see that RSR could easily double in value if it's comparable to Maker. But the scope of Maker is not as large as RSR. Maker is meant to be a stablecoin for the Ethereum platform, whereas RSR is not necessarily just for a crypto stable coin outlook, but also as a means of exchange. So now let's talk about the Coinbase effect. Coinbase, we've talked about this before. Coinbase, they have their own blog, and they often put out interesting blog posts of coins that they're considering for adding to their platform. So that just happened recently, where they added a few coins, I think a couple weeks ago. One of which I think it's on here, but there's a number of coins here that are listed. You see that RSR was mentioned in a blog post in July of 2020. Here is the description of all the list. Let's see, Reserve Rights in the graph and Theta. These are all very interesting projects that could be added at any moment. Coinbase just went public, so Coinbase will be expanding, I'm certain, and Theta is a huge target for being added as it's a top 20 coin now, and RSR stabilizing in the top 100 is also a high probability. So that could be another reason that it's running. Again, Coinbase is a backer, so they will definitely be listing it at some point. So expect a Coinbase effect, and as I mentioned in the other video, The Coinbase effect is a 20% bump when it gets added to Coinbase, just from making it available in the marketplace. Also, the fact that it's under $1 means that a lot of people will say, that's cheap, and just buy into it because it's only a dime. So expect RSR when it gets added to Coinbase to see a nice bump. So a quick look at the reserve rights token. It's about 3.5 cents right now, and the all-time high has been 11.7 cents. That was 8 months ago in April. Now it's bouncing between 3 and 4 cents right now, 3.5 and 4 cents. But what I really wanted to point out also here is that it's still an Ethereum coin. It's an ERC20 token. It is not launched on its mainnet. However, according to their schedule, and this is the latest update that I have, and I've heard about this significantly, is that they are aiming to launch the full protocol in Q4 of 2021. That provides it a couple more weeks to get this done. Maybe it does go out in January, but there should be very close. So what that means is that this is going to get a lot of attention. They're going to move off of the Ethereum blockchain onto their own blockchain, which means they won't be subject to all these hideous fees on the Ethereum blockchain. And they have a good chance of getting more adoption, getting onto Coinbase, and getting that pump that everyone's looking for to get more visibility to the token, getting more activity, and also getting the price points that we're looking for in a potential double, triple, whatever, or even to double our investment. And potentially, let's say, as an example, not financial advice, but say you put in twice as much as you expected, and you sell half when it doubles. So let's look at the charts real quick and see if that's attainable. So first off, let's look at it against Bitcoin. It is very low against Bitcoin because it's in the pennies. It's 73 Satoshis. So it's been languishing there for a while. Look at the 1 year, and you can see it's been bouncing all around. It's pretty much at its floor, or in a floor zone. If I was to draw a channel here, can I draw a channel? Yay. And then like that. Okay, figured out parallel channel. Okay, so you can see it's pretty much bouncing in this range between, let's call it 54 and 110 sats, double or nothing basically, 55 to 110, bouncing in that range is almost in the middle of it. So it's kind of languishing there. But if you look at this against USDT, you can start to see that it went from a low back in December, Christmas last year, under 2 cents, to up to its all-time high, just over 11 cents, which is 11.7. There's the peak. That was in April, in the last bull run. Then it pulled back significantly once again. It's a little bit hard to chart this, I would say. I think we have a channel right here that we're bouncing between here and the black line. So we're bouncing between 2.5 and 5.5 cents. But I think I started to see maybe a wave 1 and a wave 2. So I'm looking for the major impulse wave 3 up. So what I did was I marked the 1.6 line in purple and the 2.6 line in orange. Now before we get there, this black line I wanted to put on here because we've had 2 ceilings. We've hit the coin has hit its head against 5.5 cents twice. Once back in August and once again in November. And the reason that November is significant is look at all the volume in November. Maybe here that's like there's speculation that we're going to get the mainnet and then they pull back. That news could very well have been there. I'm going to dig for that in a moment and then come back and see if I can find anything. But if not, it's just once it breaks through there, I think it's going to have significant motion upwards, at least to the purple line, because there's not a lot of trading in between the black and the purple. So then from purple to green, there's all this activity that's happened in the past. It's got to surmount. But if it gets through into the green to orange range, it can get to that 2.6 line of almost 10 cents. And I think psychologically, you're going to see some resistance at 10 cents, some profit taking, because it's just a number that people put in their minds, and a 10 cent level is significant, and it'll probably hit its head there and pull back. So if I was to draw this as an Elliott wave, A, B, C, D, E, so you get wave 1. Well, give me A, B, C, D, E. So there's wave 1, wave 2. Hold on, I'm going to draw it as the
Elliott Wave Impulse. Thank you. I prefer that one. So we start here. Say there. Come on. I want to draw that one. Thank you. I'm going to start. Draw a little bit off because I don't want to mess up the other chart. So there's wave 1. There would be wave 2. Wave 3, we go up to 2.6 in the future. And I got to do this and this as I scroll. I have to scroll to the right. So let me scroll. Whoa. I wanted to do this. No, there we go. So if I was going to do that, I move these. So 3 is going to go to the 2.6. 4 would probably pull back to the midpoint of 2 and 3. So I'm going to say about there. Maybe the purple line would probably be the right answer. And then the wave 5, we go up past 3. And probably to about, I think 11. I think it would probably crack the all-time high, maybe bounce off of it. So I'll conservatively say 11.7. So this is what I could see going forward. I don't know why it just swapped like that. There we go. So I could see that this could be a chart because it seemed like the chart really wanted to move up and have that wave 3, but didn't happen. Now the reason I draw the black line again, the double top here, it's going to have to jump over that. It's going to have to get past the 5.5 cents, and if it does, it should run for a little while into the purple, blue, green range pretty easily, I think. There's not a lot of trading history there. Scroll to the left. Again, you're looking from between purple. Purple should be an easy one to get to. Blue, a little bit more activity between purple and blue. Between blue and green, we get a good amount, and then green, orange, another good amount. So it's going to have a little bit of troubles getting between blue and orange, but could certainly happen. So not financial advice, but I think that you could do a couple different things here. If you really wanted to play this conservatively, it's probably not a coin for you, but conservative move would be to wait until it gets to 5.5 cents, wait for a breakout, then get in. But then you might only get to 7.5 cents. So you maybe make a 50% profit, if that. However, if you got in here at 3.5 cents, as I said earlier, getting the purple line seems very reasonable, so there's a double. So, not financial advice, but let's just say you had, I'm going to pick a number, $1,000, and you wanted to have $1,000 of RSR going forward. You might want to consider putting in $2,000, and then if you had it, okay, and if you put or whatever you had, double it, and then sell half of it when you get to 7 cents or 6.9, whatever. Just basically getting your money back. So if you put $2,000 in at 3.5 cents, and then you got to 7 cents, that would be $4,000. You could sell half, get your $2,000 back. You'd still have RSR to run upwards, basically for free. So that would be one significant way to play it. And that's often a strategy that many people like. Again, not financial advice, but that would be an interesting way to play this coin and something to look at because it could run, if it gets on Coinbase, it could run pretty quickly over a dime. And once it gets over, getting through that dime line, that orange line is going to be a tricky one. If it gets through there, I would probably expect it to shoot up to somewhere on the orange line, struggle through here, get over this line, then come back down. It may hit its head on the orange line, come back down, like I said on the Elliott Wave, or it may go up a little bit higher, then come back down, hit the orange line, and move up from there. So that's just what the chart is telling me. I see similar things over on the Bitcoin chart. Again, a similar channel. There would be your wave 1. It's not as big as a wave 1, wave 2, but you see it more wave 1, wave 2, more significance over on the US dollar chart. So that's all I have for the chart for now. And now we can move on to the summary. So I did a little bit of digging about the RSR mainnet, and the RSR mainnet, just looking out on various news sources, the best, which is Reserve Rights Twitter, easy for me to say, which is @Reserve Protocol. So back on November 24th, what kind of lines up with all that activity and around Thanksgiving or thereabouts. You can see a lot of volume coming in. You can see they're just getting started. They say in December or January we'll be launching our MainNet release. That involves staking of RSR, a yield-bearing stablecoin, a DApp, and much more. And they also recently announced that they have the app done for the iPhone. So, and they're hiring. So that tells me that RSR, it looks to be in good shape for December, January mainnet launch. It kind of tells a story a little bit about the interest that was ramping up right around the end of November, and this price going up. And I think that this is typical, like people that got in here when the price came up, they're like, hey, let's cash out. But you can see on the downward side, not as much volume as on the upward side. So most people are probably hodling and waiting for the upturn in the mainnet release at the end of December or early in January. Now let's talk about the summary for this coin.
So there we have it. We have the RSR news and charts and where we're looking. Not financial advice, of course, but it looks pretty good as far as an entry point if you are so choosing. And again, looking back at the project, it's timely. There's a lot of questions about some of the stable coins in the marketplace, as you imagine, hint Tether, and there's a lot of financial instability with inflation and hyperinflation. So stable coins or coins for reserve, cash reserve or cash equivalent reserves in the crypto space are going to be of value. So this is a timely project to look at, and the mainnet is going to launch either this month in December or in January of 2022, according to everything that I'm seeing so far from the Reserve Rights Project. So my rating last time was a 3 out of 5 because it's, after all, stable coin. But I'm going to raise that. I thought about giving it a 3.5, but I wanted to give it a little bit more of a rating because I think it's a 4. And the reason I give it a 4, I really teetered on 3.5 and 4 because 3.5 is like lukewarm above average. This one, I think, it's a 4 because it's more advanced than I first reviewed it back in April. It's more than 6 months later, and they're about to launch their mainnet, and that's significant. That means the Ethereum gas fees are going to go away for this project. They're going to be on their own mainnet, and it's more than likely that within, I'd say, 3 months after mainnet, Coinbase is going to launch it or list it on their exchange because they want to get it involved. And it's also going to be more of an international coin for other countries that need more stability. And I think a lot of countries are going to need that soon. So I give it a 4 out of 5 now for maturity. I think it's a good entry point. Again, not financial advice, and a strong project. It's got lots of good backing, both from the venture capital side and also for people that have started companies before, and as well as a lot of venture capital on the crypto side. So it's a strong project. It's something worth keeping on your radar. Again, I always say not financial advice, but here's the information. One guy's opinion on a coin review. Take it for what it's worth. Look at all the different resources that I have for both this video and the original. So with all that said, I'm gonna close the drawer on the bureau, and I'll see you next time.